Hi, I'm Natalie Rogers with Chat Your Own Adventure, and today we're going to be looking at whether or not I want to do continuous thread method, which is usually abbreviated as CTM. This is where you take and you wind your thread between two shuttles, or if you should just be using a shuttle and a ball. When deciding for your patterns what you want to do, there are two things that you want to take into account. If the pattern has split rings anywhere, I'm going to recommend CTM because you don't want to run your ball through your ring as you are tatting the second side of a split ring. The other thing I think about is portability. If it is a pattern I want to work with on the go, I don't necessarily want to haul the ball of thread around when taking two shuttles with me is a lot easier to travel with. So those are usually the things I think about when I decide whether or not I want to use shuttle and ball or two shuttles wound continuous thread method, CTM. When winding a shuttle, if it is a post shuttle, I'm going to secure through the post with a knot so that it doesn't come undone as I am winding it around.
And I like to wind in the counterclockwise direction because I prefer having my shuttle thread coming off the back side going towards the front of my shuttle when I work my thread. That's just what I'm comfortable with. You may find that winding it differently helps you. When I wind for left-handed tatting, I do the opposite. I go clockwise because I want it to come off at a different point because I'm holding it in my other hand. As I am winding my thread, I do like to run it through my hand as that helps prevent some of the twist that can happen when winding your shuttle. So I'm just letting my ball of thread roll around, but I have a slight pressure on my thread as I wind it, which does help prevent me from adding extra twist into my thread as I am winding it onto my shuttle. Okay, so at this point, if I was working with a shuttle and ball, I am completely done winding and I'm ready to start my project. If, however, I want this to be continuously wound, so continuous thread method, CTM, then at this point I'm going to start pulling off whatever length of thread I need for my second shuttle. In this case, I'm going to grab a couple yards, probably 5, because I'm using some bigger shuttles. Okay. Once I've got whatever length I want to wind onto the second shuttle, pulled off my ball, I'm going to cut it from the ball. If I was working single color, shuttle and ball, I wouldn't have cut that. But instead, now we're going to show CTM. I'm going to grab this moonlit shuttle to be my second shuttle. It's a little bit smaller. That's why I did not pull nearly as much off as I wound on to the Tatsy, which was the red one that I've previously wound. And I'm going to wind that one. Let's see, my hook's on top. Again, I wind counterclockwise just because I like where that thread pulls off the shuttle. If you find you have a different preference, go for it. Whatever makes your work most comfortable for you is the best way for you to wind your shuttle. As you can see, my thread's starting to kind of bunch up on me here, wrapping around my shuttle. That is one thing that you want to watch. You want to make sure you kind of pull it so that it's in a nice loose pile for you and doesn't start knotting in on itself as you do continuous thread method. That is sometimes something that can become an issue. Typically for me, it's my cat. She likes to play with the wacky string as it kind of lays on itself. That's really the only time she's interested in my tatting shuttles. But you just kind of want to watch your thread be in an area where you can wind it mostly uninterrupted, or uninterrupted is the easiest for when you're winding shuttles continuous thread method. Now both the continuous thread method and the shuttle and ball method are only for use when you're doing a single color or using a variegated colorway because the thread is all connected. If you want to work with two colors, then you're going to want to wind two separate shuttles in those two different colors. As you get more experience tatting, you will also find that you have shuttle preferences. There's really no wrong way to choose a shuttle. Got a little knot here, so I just have to undo it before I continue winding so I don't pull that tight. It happens sometimes. That just means my thread got looped around itself. There we go. I have continuous thread method, same color or colorway between two shuttles. Again, super useful in any pattern that's going to have you do split rings because then you've got shuttles to work both split rings. There are many tatters that like to work CTM and they like to put different shuttle types on their projects. They tend to do one shuttle as a pick shuttle, which is like the point of this clover imitation here, and then one shuttle as a hook. For larger threads or when you're using a lot of beads, the Tatsies are nice. They're larger shuttles. They have neither a pick nor a hook, so you'll need to have either a hook or something pointy to make your joins with as you work through. This is another example. This is a starlet shuttle. It is larger than your standard clover size by quite a bit, so it holds more thread. It has a longer pick that isn't quite as pointy as the pick on this one. My favorite shuttle type that I use most often is the clover. I learned on a clover, so that's probably part of why I have this preference. But I really, really love the clover bobbins. I find that the bobbins stay nicely, and I just like the size of the clover. It's great. I love the pick. I am always in the habit of having a separate crochet hook when I work. So instead of a crochet hook on the tip of my shuttle, I tend to use a small crochet hook that I wear with a pin saver that I got off of Etsy. I will talk additional shuttle types at a later date and show you my personal collection of shuttles, which is not very vast. There are many tatters that have larger collections than mine, but I will show you the different types so that when you're out there looking for the shuttle that you want, you have an idea of what's out there already. So this is the continuous thread method, and that was tips about when you want to use continuous thread method versus when you want to use shuttle and ball to create your work. Now, if you ever want two colors in your work, again, neither of these methods are going to be one you want. You're going to want to instead wind two shuttles. So I'm prepping for another tutorial. And it's going to need 2 colors, so I'm going to get my second shuttle here set up. So that shows Shuttle and Ball. And this shows continuous thread. CTM, continuous thread method. Again, great when working in a single color or a variegated colorway where you have your ball and your shuttle attached, or you have 2 shuttles wound with the same thread. It's all continuous. There's no cuts and ties, so then when we start our piece, we can start right on our ring or chain. Typically, it's going to start with a ring when you wind CTM, or a chain on a paper clip, or some other, a safety pin, a bolt pin, some other thing that's going to hold a spot open to join into later. And then when you want 2 colors, you would cut both of those separate so that you have 2 threads, and then you work on hiding ends, or as you're practicing, you can just tie them together, not worry about the end hiding until after you've mastered the techniques. Thanks.